Hi, I'm Mr. McConley, and this is BKW Intro to Agriculture. We're out here in the woods today, and we're going to look at something, a very special land feature, sinkholes. Now, in Schoharie County and in other counties also, and in Bern, where I teach, there's various areas of land that have a lot of sinkholes. It's called Karst topography with a K, Karst topography. And basically what's happening is underground, you can imagine that the water is flowing, far below the surface. It's flowing underground through the underlying limestone bedrock. And in that bedrock, the water for millions of years has been flowing and weaving its way through cracks and crevices. Now, as that water contains some, acid rain, let's say, then that reacts to the limestone and will slowly carve out larger and larger openings in the limestone. Now you reach a point where those openings, those caves if you will, start getting close to the surface, the ground, and maybe there's not much limestone rock left anymore and the top will collapse, forming a sinkhole. So over here we have a very small example, and I'll walk down in here to show you. So what we have here, you can see that this is a depression. This depression kind of follows a crack in the underlying limestone, and it's collapsed. Now, it collapsed probably a long time ago, and you can see that there are trees growing in and around it. But if we move just over this way, I'll show you one that collapsed quite a while ago and formed what's now called Selleck's Cave. So Selleck's Cave appears right here. Be careful of your steps as you come over this way. But Selleck's Cave drops down, and that's that same crease or that same crack in the underlying limestone that I was showing you just a minute ago. And here it's really opened up, and a lot of the soil from above has been sucked down into the cave and drained off.
So how many feet down do you think it is to the rock there?
Well,
just to the top.
From where we're standing to what we're seeing, where you can see the ice and snow there that's still in the cave, that's about 20 feet down. And then, as I understand it, I gotta go look in my cave book to be sure, but it drops another 50 or 75 feet down into that crevasse or that crack, and then there's a whole cave system, and cavers will come with their proper gear and they'll climb down in with ropes and whatnot and go caving and follow these. Now the water and the material that's dropping down into this particular cave, I happen to know that they have traced it, and it'll come out in Cobleskill near Barnerville Road, I believe. Yeah, Barnerville Road, it comes out. So if you move around here, we'll get one more view, and then I'm going to walk us out and show you something else. All right, you can kind of see that direction. Now, I've been here in the summertime in June and July, and you can still, if you look down far enough, you can still see the ice down in there. Because remember, underground, the temperatures will remain at a fairly constant in the 50s Fahrenheit, and so that ice takes a long time to melt. So, this is Selleck's Cave. Well, what does this mean to a farmer, to an agriculture person? Well, right out here we have a farm field that we're actually trying to bring back into use. It hasn't been used in a while, just because it's kind of a remote field. And in this field, there are also the remnants of these same sinkholes, or the collapsing of the overlying soil. So you have to be careful. And if you kind of just stand here for a minute and you take your eye and you look, you can see that there's some subsidence, some sagging of the overlying soil that follows a diagonal over this direction. So let's go check it out. By the way, this field right now it's terrible. It is just all goldenrod and weeds. But you can see that there's some grass underneath as we walk. And our goal is here is to just keep brush hogging it, keep mowing it for a while, and get that grass. And if you mow things like goldenrod, it eventually will kill them off if you mow them before they go to seed. And it'll kill them off and it'll leave you with the grasses. So this could be a nice pasture land or possibly some lower quality hay if we keep working on it. This area right here is dropped a little bit more. And then you can see here where the soil has pretty sharply collapsed into a hole. And it's only 4 feet deep maybe right now. But you can see that farmers in the past have attempted to fill it back in with rocks and stones over here to try to make this a little safer, because as you're working your way across the field, you're not expecting a hole to suddenly pop up. And there's been several occasions here in Schoharie County and in Carlisle especially, where different farmers have been working the fields. In fact, one farmer over a couple fields from here was working with his combine, and he actually dropped his combine not down into a hole, but it collapsed the ground and kind of tipped, and they had to pull it out with another tractor. So what these sinkholes mean for agriculturists, for farmers that are working the fields, is that they have to be very careful and be aware and try to plan out and also kind of understand, because these will follow cracks in the limestone. So when you realize there's a weak spot, you need to kind of be leery or paying attention as you're out here and be certain that you're not going to fall into one of these. Another quick story before I go is over a road or two away from here, a farmer was pasturing his cattle in the field, and one of the cattle actually fell through into a sinkhole that they didn't realize was there. It collapsed and the cow fell through and they lost the cow. And that's actually the way Howe's Cave, which you've heard of, that's the way it was discovered. Lester Howe had his cows out on pasture and they were wandering around, and when it was a hot day they would always stand in this one area of the pasture. And so he, being curious, went out to investigate one day, and he walked over and he noticed that he felt cool air rising out of the ground from a small opening. As he investigated and dug around a little bit, he actually unearthed or found Howe's Cave, and which has become a great attraction for people to go caving and check out what it's like to be down underground. And he's made it through the years. It's been millions of people have checked out Howe's Cave, and it all started from a small sinkhole. So you got sinkholes, karst topography, and ultimately they can lead to caves. So for today, this is Mr. McConley, Intro to Agriculture class at BKW.